What is good, Hellraisers? Welcome back to a brand new episode. Today's topic, we're staying on sniper rifles. We're going to be talking about one of the most used and most loved and most powerful sniper rifles of all time. It is the HDR from the Modern Warfare collection. Now, the HDR first came to notoriety when people were posting videos about the longest shot ever recorded in Warzone or whatsoever, and it always included the HDR. The HDR has been a staple. It's always been a very powerful weapon. It is very slow, but the bullet is it's very powerful. You can down people in one hit, and the fact that it's great at long distance makes it a very valuable weapon. Now, of course, people sometimes interchange it with the AX50, but the HDR remains the most widely used sniper there was ever in Modern Warfare. Warzone. Of course, in multiplayer you can still use it, but in Warzone we're talking about specifically with these videos. Now, the HDR is an anti-material bolt-action sniper rifle chambered in 12.7 times 108mm ammunition. 745 gram bullets have a lower muzzle velocity but are devastating at very long range. It's absolutely what I've been saying. Long distance is what the HDR is all about. Now, honestly, I'm not a big fan of sniping, but the one time that I did enjoy sniping was with the HDR, and of course I was being toxic, so I had that thermal scope in, and honestly in Verdansk it was deadly. It was very deadly. And then of course with time I moved on to a more mobile forms of snipers such as the Kar98, which I adore and it's one of my favorite guns. But yeah, the HDR is definitely very, very powerful. Now, as far as the blueprints that we have, we can unlock 3 blueprints for the HDR. The first one you have is the Fracas, which is a Season 5 legendary blueprint, pre-integration of Cold War and Vanguard into Warzone. We have the Brookside, that's a Season 4 legendary blueprint, pre-integration of Cold War and Vanguard into Warzone. And last but not least is the Tide Pool Season 6, pre-integration of Vanguard into Warzone. Now, if you're wondering what the Tide Pool is, the Tide Pool, there was 2 guns that came out of the set. It was a pistol that we already talked about, the 1911, and the Tide Pool. Now, these two, as I mentioned earlier, were introduced in Season 6, and this one became very famous as it's actually made its way into the contraband contracts that you find sometimes in Warzone. So if you're finding it, it is really worth it. I mean, even though it's only an epic one, as you can see, you get higher accuracy, higher range. Mobility suffers a bit, but again, this is a very, very, very supportive weapon. It's not a weapon that you attack with the HDR in general. No matter what the attachments are, you just can't make it as a rushing weapon. And then you have the control. As far as the attachments go, if you're wondering what the attachments are, you have the muzzle brake, great for that vertical recoil stabilization, for the accuracy. You have the variable zoom scope. It's one of my favorite scopes in the Modern Warfare guns, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. But again, this is what it is with this gun. The IFTAC Champion stock, and then you have the 7-round magazine. Now, the 7-round magazine is what actually decreases the mobility. This gun usually has a very low amount of bullets in this chamber, but again, the higher magazine the better in my opinion, especially with snipers. You don't want to have to reload every single bullet or every single 2 or 3 bullets. The stock is what actually increases a bit of the control, but yeah, all in all, it's a pretty aesthetic gun. And even though right now a lot of the Black Ops and of course Vanguard snipers are taking over control of Warzone, the HDR still remains very powerful, so don't underestimate it. Second one we're going to be looking at is the Brookside. Now, this one you only got it through leveling up your battle pass in Season 4. Of course, right now if you're watching the video or if you join the game much later, you won't be able to get access to it. But if in one day it becomes the grand loot and you're wondering where the attachments are, what you have to do is you have to put the monolithic suppressor muzzle on it, the 26.9 HDR Pro barrel, the thermal sniper scope optic. I really like this thermal optic, and the FTAC Stalker Scouts stock. Of course, we have the fully loaded perk. I know the fully loaded does work in Warzone. I'm not too sure about the other perks, but it's always good to have a fully loaded perk, especially in the last final circles. If you're playing BR, then you have higher accuracy, you have higher range. Mobility is always, even though you don't have that much ammo, but the mobility still suffers. The gun in general is very slow and very heavy, so don't worry about mobility with it. Last but not least is the best blueprint that you would want in your arsenal for this weapon. It is the Fracas. You can see you have higher accuracy, higher range, higher mobility, and higher control. It seems to be great on all stats wise. Now, as far as attachments go, we have the monolithic suppressor, which is pretty much the best suppressor that you would want to have on any Modern Warfare gun. You have the TAC laser, again a very strong and powerful laser. You have the Cronin C480 Pro optics. the perk focus, and the underbarrel bipod. Bipod is one of my favorite ones for the snipers, since I find there's too much recoil, but when you're prone or you're lying down, it does add a lot of stability to your gun, and with the bipod you do exactly that. So you add higher accuracy, as I mentioned, range, mobility, and control. Since this is the best blueprint, I'll show you guys the HD 3D cutscene, and then we'll talk a bit more about the gun. Alright, that is pretty much it for the HDR. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any other questions regarding the best attachments with it, whether it be in Modern Warfare multiplayer or BR other than the blueprints, please let me know in the comment section below. I'll get you guys as quick as possible. Enjoy the footage, and I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's video. Thanks for tuning in.
Satellite piece. Listen up. You've been reassigned. Complete your mission. Under fire. Bravo's moving forward. Team. Now get your arse back to the payload. Allied cluster down.
Taking shots.
Something's blocking Alpha's advance. Targeting me. Alpha can't advance because it's blocked. Two minutes before reinforcements arrive. Bravo can now advance. Oh yeah, watch your fucking fire. Frag out. Alpha's blocked. Alpha can move forward. Alpha's moving forward.
Designating airstrike target.
This is Striker 3-1, good copy. Strike inbound.
Drop them.
20 seconds left.
Flash, good kill.
Round incoming. 10 seconds left. Wait. Throwing stun.
Afraid not. Movement.
Take out the defenders around Bravo.
Give me sighted. Movement.
Seconds left. Bravo is retreating. Forward. 10 seconds left. Payload from moving forward. Alpha can move now that the enemy removed our obstacle. Bravo's falling back. Pressure on them.
It's a kill.
Alpha's falling back. They got through the sector. Enemies recovered a satellite piece. We need... Taking hits. Alpha's moving forward. Kill the enemy around it. 20 seconds left. Stop. 10 seconds left.
Sitting at
Excellent work, team. We stalled the payloads long enough for our reinforcements to arrive.